Hello, I'm Dango Rose. Welcome to the Mountaineer Podcast, where everybody's listening. The Mountaineer brings you the latest news of the Peak to Peak region, in print, online, through our podcast, social media, and special publications. Now, listen in to the latest news of the area with our local journalists.
Hazy cigars are blazing, cars dealt around the room, and you can hear the band playing on the stand. But they'd be over soon. It was the night before July 24th, 1871. James and his gang held up a train. Now they was on the run.
The song that you are currently listening to is called Free and Wild, and it is by Stomp Street Heist from their latest release, the 7-song album Molotovs and Mayhem, which you can stream wherever you get your music along with their debut EP, Blow the Vault. You can check out more information about the band at their website, stompstreetheist.com, and you can also check them out on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. If you want to hear music like this live, then be sure to head to their show at the Gold Hill Inn, located at 401 Main Street in Gold Hill on Friday, August 30th, starting at 8 p.m.
Cold revolvers, powder in the air, pierce through that bourgeois sound. Running free and wild, the old law had all run out of town. You can't stay the same, it's moving on and off the old game. Saddle up and let's ride to fame. Saddle up and let's ride to fame.
Hello again, everybody. My name is Jamie Lammers, and welcome to this week's Miscellaneous Monday edition of the Mountaineer Podcast, where I bring you various topics from across the Peak to Peak area. As I mentioned in the previous episode of the podcast, we're back from the Colorado Press Convention hosted by the Colorado Press Association, and we are thrilled to announce that the Mountaineer has received 18 individual awards of first and second place placements in their class across the entire state of Colorado. We've also received an award for excellence in mixed media, a general award for the most awards won in our specific class, and Christian Vanek of Mountain Vale Media has received an award for his innovation as part of the paper, which brings us to an astounding 21 awards. Congratulations to every single person who won an award for the Colorado Press Convention this year. I am beyond honored to be a part of such an awesome local team, and I'm beyond honored that I'm even a small part of those awards. I'm not going to get into specifics as to what awards we've won right now. Hopefully, though, I'll be talking with our editor-in-chief, Barbara Hardt, about all of the awards we won in specific very soon on the podcast. So stay tuned for that conversation in the near future. In the meantime, though, before we get into our primary segment of this Miscellaneous Monday, which will once again be hosted by a very special guest correspondent, let's get into this week's movie at the Backdoor Theater. The movie that is playing at the Backdoor Theater at the Nederland Community Center this weekend is It Ends With Us, rated PG-13. Here is the official summary from the Backdoor Theater. When a woman's first love suddenly re-enters her life, her relationship with a charming but abusive neurosurgeon is upended, and she realizes she must learn to rely on her own strength to make an impossible choice for her future. The movie will be playing at the Backdoor Theater, located at the Nederland Community Center at 750 Highway 72 in Nederland on Friday, August 30th, starting at 7 p.m., on Saturday, August 31st, starting at 2 p.m., and again on Saturday, August 31st, starting at 7 p.m. So be sure to head over there for a great time at the movies. I also wanted to briefly mention that I was so caught up in trying to get the episode from last week edited together as quickly as I possibly could that I completely forgot to advertise last week's movies at the Backdoor Theater. That was totally my fault. The good news is the movie was a repeat of the previous weekend's movie. Last week was the second weekend showing of Deadpool and Wolverine. The bad news is, in my frantic rush to get the podcast episode done, I not only didn't advertise Deadpool and Wolverine for the second weekend, but I also didn't advertise a fundraiser for the Netherland Community Library that was happening at the Backdoor Theater, where they played Starship Troopers on Thursday, August 22nd. So I apologize for missing that advertisement last week. I will do my best to make sure that every Backdoor Theater event, including the fundraisers, gets into the podcast from now on. I also forgot to advertise the Fourth Friday Art Walk that happened on August 23rd, so I will make sure to advertise the final one that is happening this year on September 27th once we get closer to that particular date. Anyway, enough preamble from me. It's time to get into the actual segment of the podcast. Our guest correspondent will now introduce herself.
This is the Mountaineer Podcast, and I'm Maryann Rosen, bringing you stories, history, or lore from or about the mountains you live in. With summer waning and standing on the cusp of autumn, the changing season captures the beauty of the peak to peak and its essence. Crisp days, hiking and walking, days spent cozily inside reading, listening to music, drinking warm beverages, along with the colorful beauty and magic of the fall aspens, autumn in the peak to peak. As September ambles along and the days of October greet us and meander on by, as November comes into view and brings its shorter days, the weather in the peak-to-peak shifts. The high temperatures in the low to mid-60s in September decrease to the mid-40s to high 50s in October, and by November, those temperatures have diminished to around 35 to 45 degrees. The chance of rain subsides. The likelihood of snow becomes greater. Days are cool, nights even cooler. The perfect weather for sweaters, jackets, and as long as one is prepared for and aware of ice or snow, for biking, rock climbing, or for hiking and taking long walks. With millions of acres of forest and trails, including but not limited to James Peak and Indian Peaks Wilderness, Arapahoe and Roosevelt National Parks, Mud Lake and Caribou Open Spaces, Brainerd Lake and the Boulder Reservoir, there are thousands of trails to choose from. Take a ramble along the Caribou Ranch Trail, the Barker Meadow Trail, or the Tungsten Loop Trails. Or try more challenging hikes like Lost Lake via Hesse Trail, Lower Crater Lakes via South Boulder Creek, Lake Isabel Trail, Rainbow Lake Trail, or Maryland Mountain, to name a very small percentage of all of the pathways accessible for your use. Always check weather conditions, snow, and wildlife activity in the area before heading out. Also follow any recommendations provided, such as trail conditions or whether or not you need to bring that bear spray. With stunning autumn views and vistas, perhaps it's a drive you are looking for. Enjoy the stunning views as you journey along the peak-to-peak highway, 55 miles from Blackhawk to Estes Park. Whether on foot or by vehicle, take your time to survey and gaze upon the fall colors, especially the enchanting aspens. Associated with spirituality, regeneration, and the cyclical nature of life on earth, while also symbolizing determination and overcoming fears and doubts, aspens turn a beautiful golden yellow in autumn. The lower part of the leaf stalk is elongated and rigid, forming a base upon which the flattened portion of the stalk can, in virtue of its elasticity, move to and fro as the winds act upon the leaves of the trees. This fluttering of the golden leaves in the sunlight creates the effect of seeing thousands of glittering fairies dancing in the wind. Is it any wonder that these enthralling trees were thought to have magical powers and protective qualities? Each white tree trunk with its eye-like markings is in fact connected by a single root system. In winter, when other deciduous trees are mostly dormant, aspens keep producing sugar for energy. These things make aspens distinctive. Indigenous tribes used aspens as medicine for stomach pain, colds, fevers, and heart problems. Enjoy their beauty along with their uniqueness and their meanings. Being cozy inside on a chilly autumn day or night is certainly also an option. Bring home a book from a local bookstore or library to read while staying warm under a blanket or by a cozy fire while drinking a warm beverage. Any book would do, but if you so desire, you can choose one by a local author or about the area that you live in. Whether fiction or non, there are a plethora of books about the history of the region, mining, lives of women and men who helped settle the Peak to Peak, mail-order brides, locations such as the Moffat Tunnel, the Opera House, and the Carousel of Happiness, and memoirs to avail oneself of. Look for authors including, but not limited to, David Forsyth, Jeanette Keene Taylor, Karen Abenon, Kay Turnbow, Bo Schaffer, Cynthia Wolfe, Mollis Milheiser, Maggie Brendan, or B. Travis and Kate Wright. Our autumn sojourn will continue after this message.
Does talking with your teen ever feel like a game show with unpredictable twists and turns? Well, it doesn't have to be. We're pulling back the curtain and revealing winning tips for parents to take their relationship with their teen to the next level. Because a stronger bond not only keeps them healthy, but also adds more joy to your relationship. Ready to level up your parenting game? It's time to connect more. Head to forwardtogetherco.com for expert tips, videos, and guides. Build stronger connections starting today because parenting should be a winning experience.
Welcome back as we head back out into fall activities in the area. Actually, we will head back inside the warmth of home and listen to music, a wonderful pastime. Perhaps put on some Elephant Revival, Yonder Mountain String Band, or Dan Fogelberg, who all have roots or ties to this area. Getting out to hear music is also lovely. Music abounds in the Peak to Peak area, with many of the local breweries hosting live music. Check out the schedules at places like Busey Brews, Very Nice Brewing, Knotted Root, or Howling Wind. The Caribou Room and Jamestown Mercantile and many other locations also have live music. Check out the Mountain Ear for upcoming performances. Of course, there are the usual local activities that are part and parcel of the area. However, special events continue on through the fall. The Netherland Farmers Market is still being held on September 1st, 15th, and 29th, with the last one occurring on October 6th. The Ned Trail Fest Run, mentioned in the last story, is on September 14th. Take a walk around the Central City Cemetery, beautifully maintained by the Gilpin Historical Society. take advantage of this free, self-guided walking tour, touted as one of the area's prettiest. The walking tours run from mid-September until mid-October. On October 5th and 6th from 10 to 4, head over to the Fall Foliage and Pumpkin Festival. With activities for the entire family, it is a perfect spot to enjoy the season. After all, what would autumn be without pumpkins? On October 11th and 12th, and again on the 18th and 19th, visit historic buildings in Central City and hear ghost stories and other creepy, gruesome tales from Gilpin County. Some of these mysteries still prevail to this day. These 90-minute tours, led by historians from the Gilpin Historical Society, leave every 30 minutes beginning at 7 p.m. The last couple of mentions are a week outside of November, but are worthy of noting. The Tommyknocker, those mystical imps of the mines. The Tommyhawker Holiday Bazaar in Central City is being held from December 5th to the 8th. Central City transforms into a Christmas village for this event. Enjoy the Children's Parade and Father Christmas. That same weekend, December 7th and 8th, over in Nederland, the Nederland Holiday Mountain Market returns. Come enjoy live music, food, and art while browsing or shopping at 50 local vendors. Mr. and Mrs. Claus will also be there. With its spectacular scenery, trails, music, autumn color, and things to do and see, the Peak to Peak in the fall is an incredible place to visit. For more information about the area or activities, go online or pick up a copy of the Mountain Ear newspaper. Listen in next time to the Mountain Ear podcast for another mountain tale. I'm Maryann Rosen. Thank you for listening.
Thank you so much to Maryann for bringing us another awesome segment. Again, expect to hear from her in another 2 weeks. In the meantime, though, you can check out other segments that she's done for us in the past, as well as a ton of other podcast episodes that we've done in the archives that you are viewing this podcast from. And if you want to share this podcast episode or others with whoever you see fit, then be sure to head to the mtnearpodcast.buzzsprout.com or the mtnear.com/the-mountain-ear-podcast to share these episodes around. And finally, if you want to be a part of the podcast in some way, whether you want to be interviewed or whether you have some advertising that you want to feature on the podcast, then be sure to email me at media@themountaineer.com and we'll get that sorted for you. Again, thank you to Maryann so much for coming on board for another week of the podcast, and we'll see her again in 2 weeks. And congratulations to everybody who just won a Colorado Press Association award. It is beyond awesome, and I am so proud to be a part of this team. All right, guys, I'll see you on Wednesday with another retrospective episode of the Mountaineer Podcast. Have a great rest of your day.
Woke up in the summertime, rolled right out my bed. Put them shoes on my feet, a new hat on my head. Walked down to the rail line, guitar on my back. Westbound engine heading out, and red wine in my sack. Yeah.
The song that you are currently listening to is called Ramble, and it is from the latest release from the local band Stomp Street Heist, Molotovs and Mayhem, which you can stream along with the band's debut EP, Blow the Vault, wherever you get your music. Also be sure to check them out on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, or learn more about them at their website at stompstreetheist.com. And finally, if you want to see them perform live, be sure to check them out at the Gold Hill Inn located at 401 Main Street in Gold Hill on Friday, August 30th, starting at 8 p.m.
Dealer threw me 5 cards, aces on the ground. I scooped that loot up in my hand and rolled right out of town. Yeah, I'm rambling on, going west, no time for sorrow, heading straight into the sun. And I chase them stars all the way past dawn. Alright, hold tight, I'm gone.
And that's it for our show. Subscribe online to get more access to more news, weekly updates to our community calendar, and a link to our YouTube channel by visiting themountaineer.com. Be sure to use the coupon code PODCAST when subscribing for a 10% discount, only available to our listeners. If you are in the local Peak-to-Peak area, be sure to pick up a print edition of The Mountaineer at a local business. I'm Dango Rose. Thank you for listening.